I've not posted anything in a while, so I thought posting responses to a video I did last year at the same time would be appropriate. Last year around this time, I posted a video on the topic of Aboriginal eating. For the most part, it was well received, but I did get some feedback that would hardly be considered positive, but I wouldn't call it negative either. One comment was, how could you say our people eating greasy, fatty foods is healthy? Soul food is very unhealthy for this reason, and it's the reason our people are fat and sick. Really? Well, my response to that statement is, go back and study the so-called African American obesity, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and so on, and look at those stats from the 70s and compare them to the stats from today. They're off the chart. They're off the chart today. It's looking at those stats, one will be able to see something dramatic had happened, something real drastic happened to our people, and it had nothing to do with soul food. Soul food has been demonized since the 70s, the late 70s, when they started this campaign of demonizing our food. I can remember as a preteen watching Good Times, in which they had an episode in particular in which James, the husband, was diagnosed with high blood pressure and told he had to change his eating habits. Knowing what I know now, that was propaganda to make our people turn against themselves, i.e., kill themselves. As I've said last year in the video, to control the original people, they needed to weaken us. And what better way to weaken us is through changing our eating habits, by getting us to agree to changing our eating habits. The 70s saw a two-pronged attack on our people. A physical one in which people we knew were plotting our demise came to us telling us how sick we were. Now really, these were the same people who took our land, who had dogs biting us 10 years earlier in the 60s, telling us how best we were to eat to live. Your enemy telling you what to eat, who benefit from that arrangement? The one who's subduing us. No, soul food didn't cause our people's fatness and sickness we see today. Being naive and trusting of a people who stole our birthright is the reason that we see all of this sickness and obesity. These folks needed us weakened, and a surefire way to do that is to get us to voluntarily change our diets. They knew the outcome of us giving up on butter and lard and in exchange for margarine and the whole gambit of substitutes. Even for salt. Substitute for crap made in the laboratories. Don't criticize me for the video. Go do your research. And if your eyes are open, you'll see, just like I did, something happened in the 70s, leading us, or should I say our people, to what you see today. A society of folks suffering from all kinds of ailments. Another email, comment, and question. Have you bothered to study how healthy vegetarians are? I find that being a vegetarian was the best decision for myself and quite possibly all of our people. Ali Muhammad said, that eating meat causes our bodies to age faster. I do agree about water, but salt is salt and it should be limited to keep blood pressure down. I don't know what Mr. Ali Muhammad said. So what you posted, I can't comment on because I don't know if he said that or not. However, I did look into vegetarianism, fruitarianism, and veganism. I don't condemn any of these paradigms, but I tell people if they want optimal health and vitality, they had better look at their ancestors. Those people lived long, healthy lives, something Europeans envied when they came here. Let's tell the truth here. When I look at my ancestors and their ancestors, I don't find any of those eating paradigms among them. If they didn't eat meat, it was for a short period of time and not due to them not wanting to eat meat. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, in winter months, when game would migrate out of the area, and the early days of the Europeans when they were killing our food supply to starve us off our own lands. The notion, and yes it is a notion, when people make a strange statement or strange statements as meat causes our bodies to age faster. Where's the proof of this? I don't wrestle with this type of logic because, like I said, I want optimal health for both me and my family. And the only true way of that happening is if I turn to my ancestors for the answers. Now, about that salt comment. Have you ever heard the expression, our bodies are filled with oceans? It's true. As for high blood pressure, if you have more salt than water in your body, you will have a problem, which will cause the body to have to raise pressure in the arteries, capillaries, and veins to move the blood around because it will be too thick to move easily. This is what is known as high blood pressure. Rather than waste your time and mine trying to convince you that your body needs salt and its trace minerals for optimal health, I direct you to your body's many cries for water. Okay? There's no need for me to argue that. It's really not. Because if you just take the time and look back to the not needing much salt argument, which came from the 70s, you will also begin to see why our people suffer from high blood pressure and heart disease. I remember commercials for salt substitutes, which wasn't, well, it really wasn't salt at all. It was some fake crap that they made in the lab. And they were selling it to our people as a substitute for salt. Okay? Food for thought. No pun intended. When you enter the hospital, everybody gets a saline drip. Do you know why? They know everyone who walked through their door is dehydrated and suffer from salt depletion. They mislead people in order for this situation to manifest and make them money. That's what it's about, money. Otherwise, you wouldn't have mega hospitals, franchised outpatient and dialysis clinics everywhere because you wouldn't be sick. The medical industry is based in greed, just like all the other industries. And they invest heavily in stuff that will keep you sick. Because that stuff that will keep you sick would also make them money two ways. One, that you buying whatever it is that's going to make you sick. And two, you having to go to their hospitals, see their doctors, buy their medicine. So it's a racket. The third comment was concerning ham hocks and frying foods. Watching your video, I was all aboard until I saw ham hocks with greens and fried food everywhere. Disgusting. Why must we keep associating ourselves with stereotypical and unhealthy foods? Could have found better examples. Soul food is Aboriginal food or indigenous food. It wasn't just invented. Who told you frying food was bad? We need to ask ourselves, who told us these things? And then ask ourselves, how do they benefit by us believing what they tell them? What they tell us, rather. Frying is not new. Rendered fat used by our ancestors long before a pale man walked on this land. It's not something new. Today we call it fast food. We do. When you go to a fast food place, how's the food fixed? More than likely it's fried. Now, the detrimental part in what we fry with that could cause problems in the long run for us. All that laboratory made stuff they're pushing as fat-free and healthy can be very toxic and could cause buildup in our arteries. Another reason why our people is suffering from heart disease, cancers, diabetes, and obesity. Your body can't identify that stuff, so it just store it away until it can. But see, those scientists know it won't ever figure out what it is. Hence, all of the obesity in our communities. Lard and butter are animal byproducts. Therefore, your body knows exactly what to do with them. Your body burn it for calories. Your body use that to create energy for you to function in a day. Your body utilize the nutrients found in that lard and butter as building blocks to repair and regenerate the body. For those who don't know what a ham hock is, it's a part of the hog or pig, if you will, leg, the lower part near the hoof. Political correctness have our people turning their noses up on pork. As well, in the public, that is. That when they out in public, they turning their nose up at it, being politically correct. Don't matter which part of the animal, without asking why. Again, no one asked who benefit from us not eating pork. Who made it a point to condemn eating pork? Who? People quickly point to biblical passages, and I say I can't trust that interpretation from a book that has seen more spin than a DJ turntable. People make that book read all kinds of ways. So I stick with looking at my ancestors. In the end, you and I will both have to make decisions that are for our benefit, which requires us to think outside of the box and ask questions. I was fortunate to have parents, 2 grandmothers, and a step-grandmother, and was warned by all concerned to not follow the crowd. So my motto is to do the opposite of the masses, because the masses have shown themselves to be trusting sheep. I'm not hating on anyone, nor should my comments be took as an attack on anyone. No, instead of following scientists for my quest for optimal health, I'm looking to my ancestors for the answers. And I implore you to do the same. Now, my third question, statement, it's a statement. I like the idea of eating fresh food, but even farmers markets are now selling corporate farm products. So I save my money and get it from my grocery store. Maybe one day I will, but I don't at this time see an immediate need to learn how to grow a garden yet. Well, my response is yes. I've discovered that too, about the corporate farms selling at the farmers markets. I've heard it. And this is what you do. Purchase what you can afford. And infuse that food as you cook it with energy and intent. Okay? That's what you do when you can do better. Yes, growing food can be daunting, especially if you like me, someone who's never grown anything. I started growing spinach, collard greens, potatoes, carrots, cucumbers, tomatoes, strawberries, onions, peppers, spearmint, and peppermint plants. Now let me tell you, I felt like a failure when I wasn't able to produce the quantities I desired. A family member as well as an acquaintance both reminded me that consistent growth comes from effort and allowing nature to do what it's going to do. I said all of that to say, yes, you can afford to grow some food for yourself. And our people will find themselves growing more and more of their food out of necessity. Better to start getting your hands dirty today, trying to grow some food, instead of waiting until whatever is going to eventually happen to shut down this economy happen. For you to be motivated to start planting. Okay? Just my opinion. Nothing in the absolute. Just my opinion.